Hi, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Therapist Theater. My name is Josh Treece. Welcome to the theater. With me today is the one and only Leanne Treece.
Hi there.
There you go. So we are sitting here in our living room, and we're going to do a little introduction episode to the Therapist Theater. Leanne, as I understand it, you have some questions for me.
Yeah, so my first question is, what is the Therapist Theater? What are we doing here?
Well, we live here, but as I understand, you may have had a different meaning to that question. So what's the Therapist Theater? I want to do a podcast. I love podcasts. I listen to many of them. And I thought it would be a great idea to do one. And I am a therapist, and I really love movies and TV and pop culture. And so I thought, I wonder if I can make these two circles intersect and take the intersection of that Venn diagram and do something fun with it. And then here we are.
Cool. So you said you're a therapist. What kind of therapist are you?
I got a Master's of Marriage and Family Counseling and Therapy from Trevecca University here in Nashville, Tennessee. And I have a private practice and see primarily all kinds of couples, be it in a dating state, a premarital counseling state, a marital state, or a crisis state. And my second specialty is that I work with individual men who have sexual addictions, be it pornography addiction, affairs, any kind of sexual acting out. I work with them.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, what is it that you do?
Well, social worker is pretty broad, so my first thought was to answer social worker, but right now I'm working at a mentoring agency where I basically help introduce and then support mentorship relationships with families, and I would even say, I wouldn't say kids in need, because I think that everybody needs a mentor, but we do primarily work with children from single families and then obviously volunteer mentors.
Cool. And where did you get your degree?
I got my my undergraduate degree from the University of South Carolina, go Gamecocks, and then my master's degree from Columbia University in the city of New York.
Wow. Which is the same university, correct me if I'm wrong here, and I can tell by your face that you already know that I'm not. It's the same university that Matt Murdock, a.k.a. Daredevil, went to, and also the same university that doctors Egon Spangler, Ray Stantz, and Peter Venkman worked at, a.k.a. the Ghostbusters.
It's true. It really is.
It's true. And when we knew each other but were not yet dating, and both of us were going to go off to grad school, and you told me you were going to Columbia, I asked you how much of your decision is based on the fact that that's where the Ghostbusters worked, and you said
100% of it, all of it.
Which is the precise moment that I knew, this is my wife. I need to marry her as soon as possible.
And you did.
I did. So what other questions do you have?
Well, so all right, therapy. You mentioned that you like movies and pop culture, but what are you hoping this podcast accomplish? Why do you want to do it, other than the fact that it's your interest? What made you want to do a podcast in particular, rather than just talk to your friends about movies and therapy?
I think there's a few answers to that. One is that I am a very strong proponent and supporter of therapy and mental health in general. It's my career, so imagine that. And that comes from a few different places. One is that I myself was a client in therapy for many years, that is what allowed me to get the self-awareness to come to the conclusion that I wanted to make it a career. And so because of that, and because it's what I do, it's what I've studied, very passionate about it, I'd love to be able to increase people's awareness of mental health, self-care, and in increasing that awareness, also make it more, I guess, approachable. Mm-hmm. So just help people to understand it more. I think primarily people's understanding of it comes from movies and TV shows. And I think so much of what's shown in there isn't right. It's not accurate. It's not what goes on inside of counseling rooms everywhere. And so I want to help people to just kind of understand the issues and maybe get to know a few therapists in the meantime, and just let them know that mental health is not just an issue for stereotypically what television shows it to be. It's for everybody. We could all use help. And so I'm just kind of hoping to increase the awareness of that, and in the process, by making it more approachable, use things that are already in our culture, already in our world, to demonstrate issues, to bring up topics, and to use stuff that's already in people's lives.
Yeah, totally. And stuff that they've already seen, or like would be easily accessible for them to see.
Yeah, that they're familiar with.
Well, I think that's all the questions that I have. Is there anything else that you'd want to communicate to listeners who are just tuning in and curious about what's to come?
Yeah. So here's how it's going to work. This episode is going up on Wednesday the 9th, hopefully, of January. We're going to aim to have an episode out every week, and every week it'll be me and a different therapist talking about a movie and using the movie to bring up issues from or about relationships, mental health, and that therapist and I will be discussing those issues. What do those issues involve? What do they mean? What are some possible approaches to it? And what if John Q. Public notices an issue that we discuss going on in their life, in their relationships, what can they do about it? So it's not a podcast for therapists to learn different interventions, to learn different techniques. It's a podcast for everybody, because everybody needs help.
And maybe like to learn some things that they could apply to their own life, or at least learn more about. Absolutely. Very cool. Well, I'm so excited. Yeah, me too. So welcome to the Therapist Theater. If you have not already subscribed, please subscribe. It would mean so much to me if you like what you hear, if you could tell other people about it. Help us get the word out. We have some episodes coming up that I think are going to be really, really important. We have an episode coming up on shame. We have an episode coming up on loneliness, anxiety, and suicide. We have that sounds like it's a downer, but it's something that's really important. I think it's going to be really great. We have an episode coming up on LGBTQ families. So, hopefully we'll see you back in the theater next week. Thanks for coming.